up, Cowboy fans and YouTubers? Is that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you? I make these, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting down below. I make these videos for me and you, and they're a little therapeutic, you know. And how therapeutic? To the point where, hey, we lost. And I don't feel stressed about it. Why? Because after the New England debacle, I just don't get that up for a loss or a win anymore. Because these Cowboys don't worth it. They're not worth my time. I thought, just like many of us thought, that this would be the year that the Cowboys turned it around and done something special. This was the reason why I even started my channel. But apparently, they just don't care. They look like they checked out. They didn't even show up in Chicago. I think they're still in Dallas. They never left. There's nothing to say. A loss is a loss. We are what we are. We are what our record says. From top to bottom, it was a crap effort. From coaching to players to even the front office. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad. There's such a disconnect, as a lot of people pointed out, about the whole kicking situation. Jared Jones says no need for extra kickers, but our coaching staff says, what the heck are you talking about? We need kickers. So, you know, it's kind of stupid when your front office is undermining your coach and doing it publicly. And it starts at the top. Troy Aikman has said it. And when you get Michael Irvin to go on TV and basically give up on the team, you know you've lost it. Because he's been the biggest cheerleader going against Stephen A. Smith and everybody else who would hate the Cowboys, and just telling it like it is. A lot of Cowboy fans hate Troy Aikman because they act like he's crapping on the team on all our broadcasts, but he's telling the truth. We suck. He's being impartial as he can be. And for a guy who played for the team, he knows. He's been there. He was inside the organization. And he knows what goes on. But yeah, from top to bottom, I think the only people not to blame are the equipment guys. The strength and conditioning coaches. I mean, they're about the only people on this whole staff and this whole organization that haven't screwed up something. And for once, that's saying something, because usually it's our strength and conditioning guys that have guys out with pulled hamstrings every week, with soft tissue issues every week. But now, for once, they're actually doing their jobs with this new staff, and, you know, the only egregious injuries are stuff that, you know, we didn't prepare for. But, I mean, I don't get up for it anymore. I like to say go Cowboys, but even in my last video, I basically said that it didn't matter who we play against, who's not playing for that said team, because in the end, we probably screw it up and lose anyway. And that's exactly what we did. We went out, we did one decent drive, just like on Thanksgiving, and then checked out. They thought it was a cruise control game for the rest of the freaking game, and that was absolutely not it. There's nothing else to say. This is a wash season. Even if we get into the playoffs, we're not going to probably beat 12-4 team, or, you know, whoever we go against, San Fran or the Saints or the Seahawks. You know, there's probably no way that we're going to beat them. And even if we do, everybody's just going to say it's a fluke because we had a home game. You know, I can't argue it. There's nothing to argue about. You know, we suck. We're a bad team. And the only delusional person not to notice how bad we are the people in charge. Jerry Jones cannot see past his own ego to see that for 20-some odd years, you can't put a product on the field that wants to play to win. They care about their branding, and that's it. They don't care about anything else. Who are the top people you paid this past offseason, and who are the guys that's not producing the most? Those same said guys. Who are the only vocal leaders in this whole bunch? The guys who haven't been here and who are probably going to be gone at the end of this season. So that's just saying a lot right then and there. And when you got every single phase of the game just not living up to their potential, it's embarrassing. So for you to go on after games and try to put the hammer down on anybody other than yourself, you can forget it. Every Dallas Cowboy player, personnel, coach, front office, president, owner, GM should look in the mirror and say, why is this team not winning? And right there in the mirror is yourself. There's nobody else to blame, but it starts with you. Until you take yourself into accountability and man up, don't blame anybody else. I mean, who cares that at the end of a game, you see Prescott and others on the sideline getting angry? Really? Where was that fire for 3.5 quarters you were losing? That's stupid, you know? Jason Witten's the only guy who seems fired up a whole 4 quarters. But he can only do but so much. I mean, Dak's accuracy went to hell in a handbasket. I mean, he's getting wide open guys running up the middle, and he's putting the ball in the dirt. His offensive line ain't helping half the time. They're getting thrown back into his face. I don't know if it's because they're scared of holding calls or screwing up something, but they're not living up to their potential. Zeke finally got his butt straight, but then you had to abandon the running game because we fell too far behind. Their defense, I don't know where the hell they are. Sean Lee used to be a beast, but he got put on freaking backup duty. He can't play anymore. It's like if he don't start, he don't play. Jalen Smith's the only one out here in the middle who's out there for about 100% of the snaps, but even he can't help the whole defense when they going straight at him. They are targeting him. Tight ends, wide receivers are running up the seam right at him, and they're throwing to it 3-4 straight plays in a row. And you sitting up here celebrating a pass breakup. Why? You still getting smoked by 17. Why are you celebrating? Idiot. Jesus Christ. It is what it is. They're just not good. We'll see what happens against the Rams. Like I said, I'm not even going to sit up here and keep rehashing the same old crap week in and week out. We suck. We lost. Moving on to the next game. It is what it is. The injury report after the game will probably say the exact same thing in 10 days. The Rams will be... It won't be the same Rams that beat us last year in the playoffs. But more than likely, because we are the Cowboys and everybody plays up to us, they're going to show up and give us their best shot. Sean McVay wants to prove to everybody that he still got it with this team as its current iteration. And Kellen Moore, he should look to bounce back because albeit it's not the best winning team in the league right now, but he can show that, oh my God, I can be a better play caller than at least Sean McVay if I have one game where my offense actually executes. But it's not a given anymore. There's just nothing to explain it. I mean, okay, everybody keeps saying we beat bad teams when we were 3-0. We get it. But it's like, what happened? Nobody can explain what happened from that 3-0 start to where we sit now of how we changed so much. The offensive philosophy is pretty much the same. Nothing's changed. And the defense has just gotten completely blown out. That is a big reason to losing. The kicking, the special teams all around it's been non-existent all season anyway, so that's not an excuse. It just doesn't make sense how you go from 3-0 to just botching under 500 for the season. You know, it's weird. There's no explanation for things. We try to figure it out week by week. Jason Garrett keeps us the same BS speeches every week that he's looking to try and fix it, looking at the game film and trying to correct our mistakes. And I think it's just their mentality now. You are not a coach that fires anybody up, so these players are not fired up. And week after week, we keep bringing back Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells, because those two guys were like the only other coaches that were not yes men. Sorry, Chan Gailey. Sorry, Dave Campos, that had the pulse of this team. And when you screwed up, they made it known that you were not going to be playing if you screwed up. I mean, god dang. Yeah, sure, you can keep Prescott out there, but if Zeke screwed up, you'd have freaking thrown out Olawale and said you're the running back for the rest of the game, or a half or something, just to prove a point, even though he could suck. But it got the point across that if you screw up, fumble a ball, or don't do your assignment, you will be benched. And that's the kind of fire that these coaches don't have for this team. And everybody wants to say that this is a young team. That's great, but they're grown-ass men too. And these grown-ass men are not listening to another grown-ass man for some reason, and they're not scared of you. Obviously. These guys just want to sit out here, put their brands on, and, make money and not contribute. I mean, we're sick and tired of it as fans, but nobody listens to the fan, right? So they listen to the men in charge. And when you got Jerry Jones going on radio shows and promptly going off on the radio hosts, talking to them like, getting mad at them like it's their fault you suck, there's a problem. And Jerry Jones has no reason to be getting mad at a radio station host for stating the obvious. If you are getting mad at them for stating the obvious, it's because you can see it or you're totally oblivious to it. And you feel stupid because they asked you an honest question and you don't want to honestly answer it. So don't get mad at them. And do yourself some freaking favors and not be on goddamn camera. Not be giving speeches before your coaches and players get out there. Stop putting yourself in the limelight, and maybe we'd listen to your butt when you rarely do show up. I mean, I get it. From the 90s, you stopped going down to the sidelines being a coach. You got your new stadium and you stopped coming down to the sidelines, but that doesn't mean jack squat. You still putting yourself out there like you're a coach or something, telling all our business out there. I mean, how dumb you got to be? You got a video camera in your war room during draft, so everybody can see your draft boards. Like, how dumb is that? When people can look at your draft boards in the background and zoom in and be like, well, we see who the Cowboys are looking at. Let's go ahead and take those guys off the board before they get to them. Like, how stupid is that? Only you would come up with that idea to put a camera in there during the whole show and think nobody's watching. Like, that's an idiot move. Other marketing stuff, great. You've done great. You've reestablished how to make money for yourself and your brand and your team without sharing it with all of the NFL. That's great businessman acumen. Great mind. But when it comes to football knowledge, you don't have it. I don't know what made you think you had it. If that's the reason for the divorce between you and Jimmy Johnson, just to try and prove to him that you got the football IQ that can do something, but you can't, that's freaking ridiculous. And for 20 some odd years, you've been trying to repeat the same success, and you just don't want to sit there and admit that maybe you were wrong. That you do not have the football mind that you thought you did, and maybe you should get somebody to run the team the way it should be ran. You want to sit here and say if you had a real GM, you'd have been fired him. Well, hint, hint, maybe you should fire yourself. as a GM and give it to somebody else who can do better. But you sit here and continuously say, well, I give the job to somebody else or pay somebody else to do something I can do. Because obviously you can't do it. That's pretty much a giant freaking hint and a half that you cannot do the job. So give it to somebody else. But you don't see it that way. I mean, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the dumb keep running the freaking earth. And that's our society in a nutshell. I think I can do better. I own everything. I will do everything myself. Why let somebody else do something I can do? Well, gee, if I'm doing a bad job at it, maybe I should think about actually letting somebody else do it. I don't care if I have to spend money to let somebody else do it. Maybe they have a better idea to do something that I can't do. But that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. I don't think anybody in the Cowboys organization gives a fart what we YouTubers say, what we fans say, what the media says. It's all about Jerry Jones, his ego. It's all about Stephen Jones, his ego. It's all about Jason Garrett and his pretty much non-job security. And they're just going to continue to keep rolling out the same mediocre crap, or worse, each week until this season's over. Then there's going to be a big blow up at the end of this season, and it's going to get ugly, way worse, a lot before it gets better. And that's if it can even get better. As a Cowboy fan, we might as well just get ready for a couple years of a lot of 3-4 win seasons, because it looks like we're not going to have Byron Jones, Randall Cobb, Tavon Austin, Robert Quinn, Michael Bennett, maybe not even Dak Prescott, maybe not even Amari Cooper, and the core bulk of our defense gone, and that's about it. I mean, your offensive line will be intact, yay, but that's probably it. That's probably the only position group that's not going to change over the offseason. Every other position group is going to probably see major change. I think there's 20 free agents that'll be up this year. 20. And you've only been trying to lock down 2, and Coop and Dak. You haven't really thought about Byron Jones or Anthony Brown, 2 of your starting corners. So if they go, now you're left with what? Jordan Lewis and Cheeto. And Jordan Lewis hasn't stepped up to where we thought he should be. And Cheeto is still getting beat whenever he gets beat. The safeties took a step back. Surprisingly, Woods, all his preseason getting mad at the whole Earl Thomas thing has shown that he hasn't stepped up. He was supposed to be so much better, but he hasn't done diddly. We hyped up Darian Thompson and Donovan Wilson, and they haven't done anything special. I mean, I just don't know what it is. Training camp and preseason for a lot of players and practices never roll over into actual games for this team. And we just don't know why that is. There's player mindset, player execution, sure. Coaching, definitely. I mean, if you watch the games, it's basic fundamentals that is killing us. How are you getting killed on swing passes, screen passes, and RPO all freaking night long when they're doing nothing different and you keep falling for it? That's ridiculous. When you got a kicker who keeps kicking right, why aren't you going out and finding somebody else? I mean, it's a hit and a half when he misses a field goal and then he kicks a freaking kickoff and it goes out of bounds. That is showing you that he has no kind of discipline on his kicks whatsoever. And then to go out after the game and say, I think I did well. I think I've made kicks that I needed to make. Really? What game were you at? It's like this whole team is on something. Did Antoine Woods pass the pipe around to everybody and we all got a contact? Because they're clearly not seeing the same game we're looking at. But That's what it is, you know. That's where we stand as an organization and as fans. We're all lost, dazed and confused. But I hope everybody else has a great Friday. Can't get any worse for these Cowboys, you know. Thanks again for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting down below. Y'all have a good one, all right? Peace.